Now, Muscovado is a disturbing and powerful new play about slavery set in the 19th century Barbados. It's a heady mix of sexual intrigue coupled with piercing choral music and extreme racial tension that provides an unflinching portrayal of life on a sugar plantation in the 19th century. The play was commissioned following the discovery of archives from Barbados of Clemmy Reynolds' family, who also happens to be the production's artistic director. And joining us in the studio this morning is the assistant director, Cheryl Walker, and also a cast member, Alex Kiffin. Now, before we meet them, let's take a sneak peek at Muscovado. So that's the scene there from Muscovado. And with me now in the studio is the assistant director, Cheryl Walker, and actor Alex Kiffin. Thank you both very much for joining us. If I could start with you, Cheryl, just tell us a little bit about the play. We got a sense there from that video and exactly how it all came about.
Yeah, so Clemmy Reynolds, who is the artistic director of Burnt Out Theatre, researched her family archives, and her family had a plantation in Barbados for a couple of hundred years, and they were able to retrace her records, and the play was then commissioned and written by Matilda, who has created this beautiful story about the lives of these characters and how they're sort of woven together. And I've come on board as assistant director. My family are from Barbados originally, so it's been a really beautiful merger of all of our histories and how we can sort of retell this story, honouring these characters and being as true to life as we possibly can. And a
real-life story that's based on actual events and sort of words and documents that have taken place.
Yeah, I mean, the story is fictional, but in terms of the inspiration, and it is from factual historical archives. Matilda has done an incredible amount of research to try and make it as authentic as possible, but really it's about the relations and the tensions and, you know, this sort of big system and how people had to navigate their lives through it.
Now, this production is now on a UK tour. Where's it going, and what's been the reaction so far from audiences?
It's been great.
Yeah, it's been, everyone's been embracing it. They say stuff like this needs to be more at the West End stuff. Yeah, it's just everyone's just been receptive to it. I mean, you get different sides of the story. Obviously, certain people find it a bit hurtful, and then but at the same time, that's what theatre does. It's there to make you think and then bring people, new faces to the theatre. I think it brings a lot of new faces, and some people we get coming that have never probably experienced type of theatre like this before, and they ask a lot of questions and ask us, how did we feel doing it, and how did we find research? It was pretty good.
It's been great getting a new audience into theatre, or allowing people to see themselves on stage in a way that maybe they hadn't done before. It's been really sort of a big element is the lighter moments, the comedy. I think what this play does differently to a lot of other sort of plays about this time period is that it looks at humanity, and there are lighter elements. People are human. They laugh, they feel, they cry, and, you know, as opposed to being a sort of token representation, it really looks about sort of two sides of people's characters on both ends of the spectrum.
Because there is often humour and light moments in terrible, tragic situations.
Yeah.
Of course.
As a performer, how is it for you sort of going back in time and saying these words and saying these, going through these images and different things that happened at that time?
It was quite, at first, when I first done it, because I'd done it in Clapham, we done it in October for Black History Month, and when I first jumped on board and I read the script, I was like, wow, this stuff is very powerful. That's what made me wanted to do it. But yeah, it was, certain parts were like, it was hard to deal with at first, but then obviously, you know, it's just a story which has to be told, and you kind of like get used to it after a while. I'm not saying it's acceptable, but you kind of like, okay, this is the journey of my character and what he has to be through, to the trials and tribulations to do you know what I mean, encounter, do you know what I mean, to overcome his situations at that time. But yeah, just have to do what you have to do.
I think a big note was to honour the characters, really make sure that we are doing them justice as people, and sort of not have these standard representations where either they're complicit in their oppression or, you know, on the other side of the spectrum, that we have no sort of complete, I mean, we do have some villains, but there is always that other side to them.
Okay. It's quite an ambitious project because it also has the cast singing from an original score and singing live on stage whilst performing all of this.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a huge part of it.
That is a huge part. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, the music was written by James Reynolds, Clemmy's brother. But yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it brings everyone. It gives you that whole historical, spiritual. African music.
Yeah, it's everything. So we've got the Georgian music, we've got some African styles of music, and it's all completely an original score written by James Reynolds. I'd say the music is a real highlight. I mean, it really lifts the production. It really sort of creates atmosphere. In terms of the smells and the heat, we take you to Barbados, and you completely go in the theatre and suspend your disbelief, and you know, you're taken to this world, and you're completely seduced by these people who are charming, funny, tragic, and then you've got this gorgeous set which has been built by a designer, Sophia, who's done a brilliant job in sort of creating this sort of transient space where it's a house but it's a church, it's outside but it's inside. It's just a real sort of feast for your eyes and ears and senses.
What are you hoping that audiences will take away from this? What are you hoping that they will do when they leave the theatre?
I mean, it's not a case of pointing fingers or making people feel bad about anything that's happened. It's about how healthy it is to have the conversation as to not have, compared to not having the conversation at all. I feel like if it's sort of unspoken, it's very much there. It's our recent history, yet actually on school's curriculum. I think I did slavery for maybe 2 weeks in Year 9. Yeah. It's very apparent in our society, but we're not comfortable talking about it. And where we're not sort of saying this is what happened, putting our spin on it, we're giving you a slice of this life, and getting it out on the table. It opens healthy.
A dialogue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it really gets people to discuss issues, not just looking back at Barbados, but also current issues in the world.
Yeah.
So where else will this project be going? What's next?
So it's doing a UK tour. I'm going to be in it on the UK tour, so my role's sort of changing somewhat. So what are some of the venues that it's going to?
So from 10th of March to 14th of March, we're at Bread and Roses in Clapham.
Yeah.
And then after that, we go to Brighton. Yeah. And then Bristol, Hull, end of March, and then Brighton, Bristol, Doncaster, Liverpool, Liverpool, Leeds.
So Edinburgh as well. And the
venues have been certainly is a very busy schedule ahead for both of you.
It's all on the website, burntouttheatre.co.uk.
Fantastic. Cheryl Walker and Alex Kiffin, thank you both very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.